I have a personal problem with kids going into one singular sport at an age where they believe that they're going to develop to a level that's going to get them a sports scholarship. I 100% believe that you're going to get the smallest population of people that are going to move on to the next level. So to tell a large population of people that they need to specialize at a young age, you're depriving them of physical development, the few opportunities in their entire lifespan to compete in organized sports, and to get the joy and the competition factor and just the variety that comes from that. I absolutely hate when I hear an 8 or 9 or 10-year-old specializing in a single sport, and then someone telling them that they have to do that to play at the next level. I can absolutely guarantee you go and survey college athletes right now, and most of them played multiple sports. I played 3 sports as a high school athlete. I played collegiate baseball right after it. I could look at an entire soccer field of 400 people, and I can point out probably 5. I'd be like, yeah, they're special. And the only thing the coach has to do is get out of their fucking way. 100%. Like, you don't need to specialize unless you have a child or a kid that is 100% dedicated to that sport, loves it so much and wants to play it all the time. That's fantastic. Let him have it. Or if you want to maximize the potential, but at the same time, the kid kind of has to want it.
Well, he has to want it a lot.
Has to want it. I absolutely hate that. Yeah. Absolutely hate it. Personally.
I think we even have research that supports this now,
it's
right?
100%. Yeah. Kids that specialize in baseball, you don't become an athlete playing baseball. Are you kidding me?
I'm working with the head coach for UC Davis of volleyball, and I asked her, "What do you look for in your volleyball athletes?" And she oddly enough said, "You know what? I really like those who played soccer."
Yeah.
That's that, and I didn't coach her up on it. I didn't cue her up on that. She just said, "I love it when I hear that. Usually when I see that they play both volleyball and soccer, trainable, super trainable, good feet, good hands. This is an athlete I can work with." But in other words, to think that all you do is play that sport and you'll get really good at it, you're missing the context of physical learning, and you have to have those lessons that different sports give you.
And it's like the demise of youth development.
No, it is.
It's the demise of youth sports. Like, you just stop saying I can't play, flag football this year. I can't play soccer because my travel baseball coach told me I got to play year round. Like,
how about that? How about the research that says there's no one at the youth world's
Little League World Series?
You know this research better. Go.
Well, you were going to say it.
No. I'm going to ask it up. I know I am.
Well, it's essentially they show that the people that play, the kids that play in the Little League World Series, which is like 10 to 12-year-olds, it's on TV every year, and it's an extremely small percentage of them that actually end up playing Major League Baseball. So at 10 to 12 years old, these are the best baseball players. In order to play in the Little League World Series, they've got to start in like February or March, whenever Little League starts, and then they're playing all the way. This thing's not on TV until August, September, right? So they've played an entire year of baseball. There's no other sport happening in there, and it's a very small percentage of them that go to play at another level. And this could be for many reasons, but what the research would speculate and kind of look down is body breakdown, right? So we're overdoing the same patterns over and over and over. If we're talking about baseball, rotating the same direction while their growth plates are open, right? This is a recipe for disaster. And then to Aaron's point, there's no athletic development. They're not learning other things. Kids don't have PE anymore. PE is the first thing cut from most schools. So the only athletic thing these kids are doing, and on top of that, if there is PE, they can get an exemption in almost every school if they play a sport. So if they're playing year-round baseball, that's the only activity this kid's doing. And then they go home and play Fortnite or whatever it is they do. But there's no development and then tissue breakdown. So I think there's 2 reasons probably why they don't end up there.
Yeah, for sure. There's no question that the best athletes that make it to the highest levels of their sport are the best athletes, which means you can do linear sports and multi-directional sports, and you can throw things and you can jump, and it's very, very common that you see this crossover of, and when you talk to coaches or you talk to folks or you just watch sports, you see like that guy's a great athlete. Like, he could play football, he could play basketball, he could play baseball, he could play soccer. It's his choice, whatever he wants to do. And anyone he chose, he'd probably be at least D1, if not pro in it. And
you see the best of the best get drafted into multiple leagues.
Yeah, and it's an athleticism, and as a youth athlete, your really job is to develop your athleticism in different things. And the more dynamic you can be, frankly, the better you are. But if you're not an athlete, then there might be some advantages to specializing early, because then at least you can master your skill set enough to
maximizing your potential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if there's no chance that you can be an athlete, that might be there. And I only think that you're usually the devil's advocate, but I'm just going to play it briefly here. That my only, I think the one challenge that we're seeing, and the decision that parents are frankly having to make is, if I don't have my kid play a sport year round, are they going to be skilled enough in that sport to make the team?
Yeah.
If I don't play the comp team this year, am I going to make
Yeah.
a comp team in a year or 2 years or 3 years?
100%.
And then it's like, and then I deprive my kid of the chance to
Yeah.
make it. And I can't be on a comp soccer team and a comp basketball team and a travel baseball team because I either can't afford it or don't have time or all the variables, which is a horrible position to
Oh,
be
yeah,
put
total,
people in.
yeah,
Horrible.
yeah.
But that's the reality of
Yeah.
the decision they're facing.
I think it's an institutional problem because
Sure.
I hear from parents all the time and hear from players all the time. Like I can appreciate the struggle you're in because
Yeah.
your coach over here is telling you if you're not playing year round them, you're not going to start.
Yeah.
And then you're playing on a team, you're riding the bench, and you know that all it took was just a little bit extra game-like reps, and you'd be right up with the rest of them. But it's this belief that you need to be like constantly at it all the time, over and over and over again. It puts a huge struggle on decision making.
No, we have a solution.
It's terrible.
No, we have a great solution, and it's really what we do with Kime, and particularly what we do with our alliances with our gyms. And it's giving people a strength and conditioning program, not in the way that we think a professional athlete S&C program or even a collegiate athlete, but the youth S&C is the antidote of the sport. So if they're rotating excessively in baseball or they're burning out their arm in baseball, then S&C work, some gym work, some fitness work allows them to do other things and be involved in good physical preparedness, some GPP work that allows for development and how it should be. And then we get to use it as the guise of, well, yeah, we're making them a better athlete so that they're better at baseball, but in reality, we're giving them the antidote to a 12-month sport. So I think there is a solution here because it got sad there for a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think that I would say to families, parents, to other athletes that think they should be specializing early, it's just and all the pressure that goes along with that is to recognize that the development cycle of youth, like I have a 10-year-old son, and the development cycle of youth is highly variable. Where there's some kids right now that are 9 or 10 that are clearly above and beyond where my son is and where many other boys are. But knowing what I know and being in my profession for as long as I have and seeing kids from this age group up through the age of 18, half of them probably aren't going to continue to play soccer, or they're going to do something else. They might be bigger than everybody else now, but once the other kids hit a growth spurt, guess what? These kids don't grow anymore. I have just very specific examples of athletes who were like dominant at 10, 11, 12 years old because they were the biggest kid on the field and dominant, and they didn't make the high school team because they got passed up by the age of 14, and now they're the slowest kid on the field because they're still the biggest, but now they're slow. Whereas this other kid that's now growing up and can compete a little more and matured. So, and there's a coach will always find room for the better player. That at the end of the day, we have to keep that in mind. That if you can't play, you can't play.
Yeah, 100%.
But if you're an athlete, the coach is going to find room for you on the roster. No matter if you come in and they already got 14 on the roster or not, if you can actually move and you can play, then there'll be a spot for you. Now, if you can't, then that's a reality we have to face, and then you go down your path you go down. But
Yeah.
so anyways, it's certainly a good debatable topic, and it's a tough spot, I think, emotionally for people and families, and thus depending on the environments that they're in. But a super good question, but we all would agree for sure that it's best for human development and sport development and athletic development that the person is more well-rounded in their process than being specific to say, hey, let's go down one path. I think there's no question about that. But obviously there's unique situations where you have to make the call. But